Just giving this a couple seconds for anybody who was already on the stream to get back on. I know it's weird when I stop a broadcast and then start it back up immediately. Sometimes it might kick people, or you have to refresh your browser to get back in or something. So I just like to give it a minute. But we are back with the NL edition of the Spring Training Final Statistic Deep Dive for the PFK The Show Legends League. We just went through the entire American League, looked at all of the 26 roster participants for all of our 18 teams, and dove into their stats. We will be doing the same thing for the NL now, starting with the NL East, moving through the Central and to the West. We are sorting everything by at-bats. The big caveat that I keep reminding everybody is that in 2020 spring training, for some reason, not every team played the same number of games. So there are some teams that have 4 guys that saw over 100 at-bats. There's some teams that have only 1 guy who even got close to 90. So don't be looking at these counting stats as bulk stats. Be looking at them as rate stats, right? Runs per at-bat, home runs per at-bat, things like that. So Sadaharu O's 6 home runs look paltry compared to some of the other guys who were swatting close to 10. But when you see that it's only in 80 at bats, you remember like, oh no, this dude is crushing it this spring. So anyway, I'm trying to do my normal thing of stopping on each relevant screen for about 3 seconds or so that you all have the opportunity to take screenshots so that you can keep this data and use it however you want. I know this is tiresome data entry. Trust me, I've attempted to do it, and it is not sustainable for our purposes here. So this is definitely the easiest and quickest way for me to bring you as much information as possible. Take those screenshots, or you can, remember, use the Twitch utility to clip things. When you make a clip, I don't know the entire details about how you edit it and select how far back you can make a highlight or whatever, but when you click clip, you end up saving a highlight to my channel that everybody else can then watch too, which is really great. So when you end up watching games, if you make clips, then you'll be able to add to the growing pile of highlights that we might even be able to edit together into web gems or top 10 lists, or put together highlight videos for some exciting stuff. So yeah, use that I already forgot what the name of the tool is. Use that function to clip things. There's the tool, the clip tool. Please use it liberally. Cool, I just blabbed through the entire position players for the Atlanta Braves. Hopefully everybody's able to tune in and watch and look at all these numbers, because I'm trying to not talk through this whole thing and try not to tell you all of the stats. There's obviously too much to do that, but more just highlighting a few things here and there, not trying to get too into the weeds on analysis, because that's for you all to do. But I will point out Bob Feller's 6.51 ERA in 27 innings and his 1.59 whip, though he did strike out 37 guys in 27 innings and only walked 19. So some mixed results from Feller there. I'm also contractually obligated to point out things like a 34-8 strikeout to walk ratio. Come on, Walter Johnson, that's awesome. 0.96 whip on the spring. And then we go back and we look at the guys who didn't pitch a lot of innings. 9 saves for Bert Blyleven before he actually got replaced in the closer role recently by Braves management. I believe it's Robin Roberts who will be the new closer for the Barves. Looking at the Washington Nationals, going to start with their pitching staff. Bob Gibson leading the way with 35 innings pitched. Seven walks to 43 strikeouts is even better. Mike Mussina, though, 28 innings pitched, 1.61 ERA, 0.89 whip. I think I underestimated him in my preseason preview, or he's just turning it up in the spring. Because, yeah, that's absolute ace performance right there. Mark Pryor there with 8 holds is actually pretty interesting. He's that more than anything that shows that he's getting a lot of work in the middle of winning games. The cannonball combo at the end, looking strong. Redding really does need to be a strikeout machine to make this combo work, so good to see him doing that. And Jackman has been impressing, though he only had 7 innings pitched, didn't get many save opportunities for the Nats. And the position players for the Nationals, Albert Bell led the way with only 86 at-bats, another team that didn't play as many games as some. Soriano leading the way with 6 homers. Ricky Henderson only drove in 1 RBI. 1. And he had 80 at-bats. He did steal 5 bases, but I guess that's Ricky being Ricky. Buck Leonard 303 down there. Aaron Judge hitting 300. He has been a big disappointment in the ALCS in PFK the show. I think he went 0 for his first 7 or 8 in the CS and struck out 7 of those 8 at-bats before he finally hit a solo shot last night to redeem his name a bit. Looking at the bench guys for the Nats. Sheffield only getting 22 at-bats on the spring. You'd certainly like to see a player of his caliber get a little bit more run, not able to get anything going, only hit 91 on the spring. I'm sure there's a team out there that could use an outfielder of his caliber, if not a DH. Okay, to the Phillies. Looking at their position players first. 96 at-bats to lead the way for Altuve and Ripken, but then all the way down to 84 for Gehrig. Weird. Big fall off in playing time. So Carlton Fiska's 6 home runs in his 80 at-bats is really impressive. As opposed to Altuve hitting the same number in 16 more at-bats. Not as impressive, still impressive, especially when you add 5 steals onto that and an almost 300 average out of the leadoff spot. Fisk looks like he just missed that 1,000 OPS mark. Kiner and Yastrzemski right there as well. Okay, and on to the bench guys. Sammy Sosa only saw 42 at-bats. Bo Jackson 38, even though he's a starter. That's weird. I'll have to look into that. Make sure he wasn't just getting benched all the time. Oh, maybe it's a good thing. He's only hitting 184. He did swat 3 home runs, though, in very limited time. He struck out 16 times against 2 walks. Yeah, lots of red flags for Bo. On to the pitching staff for the Philadelphia Phillies. 3 innings eaters for this squad. Doug Jones down there with 21 innings. He struck out 23 and only walked 3. Really, really great performance out of the pen, even though his whip is up at 127. And the bullpen guys. Sweet. This is the first stat anomaly that I've had the chance to show anybody. So I mentioned in one of my previous videos that every once in a while when you're scrolling through, stats will say something that's just straight up impossible. Like blown saves, 1.74 or 0.94. This game just gets glitchy sometimes, and sometimes an entire column will just load the wrong damn thing. All I have to do is hit right one more time. bop, it's gone. Back to the normal stat. So if you ever see an absolutely anomalous stat like that, just know that it's the game glitching out. There isn't anything wrong. It's just it's a little bug. Okay, no, we still want to be in here. Going to the NL Central, we're going to get the position players for the Milwaukee Brewers, led by LaJoie. He had 108 at-bats. I really hope I'm pronouncing that name wrong. Actually, I really hope that was a correct Freudian slip. I really hope that I'm pronouncing his name wrong, because I'm going to continue saying LaJoie with absolute glee, and I really hope that I am doing it in the entirely incorrect fashion. Albert Pujols had 7 home runs here. 6 steals for Napoleon. He hit 306, 364, 509. So I guess he could be drawing some more walks there. 9 walks to his 24 strikeouts and 108 at-bats. Does he not have the discipline? No, he's got 90 discipline. Expect that to turn around for Knapp. He could be a real monster. Alan Trammell hit 326. What the Barry Bonds? What is wrong with Barry Bonds? He is the star. He's healthy. He's happy. He's hitting 139, 233, 291. He hit 4 home runs, but like, what? That is too weird. Well, stay tuned on the Barry Bonds saga over here. Torrey Hunter OPSing 1157 NBD. Yeah, you never see Barry Bonds strike out twice as much as he walks, right? I don't think that computes. Albert Pujols did keep his walk to strikeout ratio really, really slim, as did Larry Walker. Yeah, when Barry Bonds clicks, this lineup is just going to be a nightmare. But if for some godforsaken reason Barry Bonds doesn't click, then I don't know about the credibility of this entire simulation all of a sudden. I do think that this game does some dice roll kind of mechanics when starting up a new franchise. For instance, as you've probably heard me mention before, Keston Hiura in our previous run-through for the PFK League has been better than Mike Trout all season. And now in the playoffs is still outperforming Mike Trout. He was the hero in a couple huge games. It's just unreal. And his stats aren't even that good. He's like a mid-80s player. A lot of his peripheral stats actually kind of suck. And yet he's by far the best player on a really stacked squad. So who knows? Maybe there was just a bad role for Barry Bonds in this go-through, or maybe it's just a spring training aberration and he's going to be fine on day one. I guess the moral of that story is this game is full of surprises, and it's probably actually for the best that we can't predict things entirely, and that it's going to throw us some curveballs as we go, because that's how baseball is. Like this curveball, D-Train. I did not expect an 88 overall like D-Train in such an important role to be absolutely crushing it like this, but he is. So good on the Brewers for trusting him with this role, because it looks like it's really going to pay out dividends. Oh, there's the glitch again over there at 1.45 blown saves from Masaichi Kaneda. Cool, there's the real stat. And a reminder, of course, to be taking screenshots whenever you need them. Kenley Jansen, 9 saves in 13 innings. One of the spring leaders. 1.38 ERA is actually lower than his 1.46 whip. Ooh. He wasn't walking too many, though. Alrighty, to the Pirates. Leadoff hitter Jimmy Rollins getting the bulk of the at-bats, and even though Pudge is hitting lower in this lineup, he's collecting the second most. That's kind of bizarre. Rod Carew hitting 333, 425, 511. Really strong performance, 936 OPS. Stargell and Suttles both hit OPSing over 1,000. Rod Carew with that great walk-to-strikeout ratio, 14 walks, 13 Ks. I love that we get to see a lot of guys in the league at the same time that have that skill, because it's so rare, especially in the modern day, to see a guy who walks as much as he strikes out. I don't even know if anybody will do that this year. But there's clearly a lot of guys throughout history who have been able to do that, and it's not a fluke. It's clearly just part of their skill set. And luckily, most of them are Hall of Famers. So we get to see a lot of that, and most of them are on the Angels. Good Lord, I hope we see some Jay Buhner fireworks during this season. He's my favorite fringe player to root for. Mostly because I desperately want his walk-up music to work in this game. I'm still hoping I can make music work in game, but I don't know. I don't know that we're going to be able to get around copyrights. Still working on it. Worst comes to worst, I can just drench some music in some stadium reverb and run my own stadium music off of my computer. That'd be pretty sick. All right, there's the Pirates looking at their pitching. What did I miss? You missed the NL East and the Brewers. Yeah, the NL East and the Brewers. K-Rod collecting 3 losses. Verlander 45 strikeouts in his 35 innings pitched. That's really stellar. Felix walking 20 in 28 innings. A nice ERA of 6.99. That is nice. James Paxton looking real good. 1.8 ERA, 5 walks, 25 Ks. Some really good walk performances from this roster, huh? 4 walks for Mad Bum, 18 Ks. 6 from Hippo to 15 Ks. That's cool. David Cone, 8 to 21. That's really interesting. This could be an interesting matchup if they faced off against the Tigers, who are such a walk-drawing team. Does Vida suck? I don't think so. I don't think you have enough stats from him out of his ace spot to be able to tell yet. The AL is already done, and it was a separate video, so you can go load up the entire AL stat breakdown on Twitch right now. I can also link it in the Discord once I'm done with this. .96 whip for Madison Bumgarner is pretty stellar. 2 blown saves for K-Rod en route to his 4 losses. That's so weird because he's such a great stats guy, or attributes guy in this game. I would expect him to turn that around. And I guess the only guy that we didn't see at the top there was Goose Gossage and his glorious mustache, which we can hover on for a while. 3 saves for him, 10 2/3 innings worked. 1.13 ERA or whip to a 4.22 ERA. Probably good FIP here. Okie doke, the Cardinals. I'll go through this one pretty quick because the Cardinals manager lives here, so she can look at this whenever she wants. But this is more just in case you all want to see this. Reminder, you will not see Babe Ruth here. But his OPS is likely over 1,000. Holy crap. Yeah, I love this roster. They're just going to swat so many baseballs. And yet this game ranks them like middle of the pack in power. These in-game rankings, I'm convinced, are pretty bullshit. Bullshit. Richie Ashburn, really strong spring. 395, 439, 447. Pretty solid. Only 38 at bats, though, and did not leave the yard. He did have 5 steals, so he's proven that he can be a pretty dynamic player off the bench for the St. Louis team. This team is also going to strike out a lot. The pitching staff for the Cardinals: Randy Johnson, 5-0 in 32 dominant spring innings, 42 Ks. Absolutely love to see the big unit slinging it. Looks like the closer by committee is also working with Gordon, McDaniel, and Jackson, each picking up 4, 4, and 3 saves, respectively. Jose Mendez figured his stuff out. He was really hurting to start the spring, but he got his ERA down to 3.09. It's got to be a relief in St. Louis. Dizzy Dean, however, I guess the strikeout to walk ratio is encouraging there. But yeah, that's worrisome stats from Dizzy, especially the 1.75 whip. Yikes. Andy Cooper looking like a real star, as is Tom Gordon and Bieber out of the bullpen. There's some fun arms on this team. Yu Darvish, the fifth starter, coming in with 21 Ks in 20 innings and 11 walks. Two blown saves from Randy Johnson. Won't see that in the regular season, huh? And the rest of the low innings guys. Yep, here's Babe Ruth. Even though he's been in the Cardinals bullpen all spring, he hasn't pitched an inning, and yet he has been hitting in the DH role almost every day. And even when you go into their stats page, it doesn't show spring training. Gonna have to find Babe Ruth through some outside the box thinking here. AJ Burnett getting roughed up. He's got good peripherals though. Is it a walk problem? It's a walk problem. That might not be curable. I don't know. Somebody could take a risk on AJ Burnett in a rotation spot and see if he turns it around, but that's not looking promising. David Wells, I thought, would also do pretty well out of the bullpen, but has not proven to do so. On to the NL West, our final three teams. Before we switch over to the original PFK, the show, and do Game 4 of the ALCS, where the Yankees' backs are against the wall and the Angels are on the verge of winning the first ever PFK, the show championship. DeGrom and Waddell taking the bulk of the innings for the Dodgers, though seeing Hal Newhouser and Eddie Plank also throw a bunch of innings. Oh, that's right. The Dodgers are one of the teams that threw a ton of innings or played a ton of games in spring. So can't take these bulk stats at their face value. Got to look at the rate stats. Eddie Plank, how about a 1.29 ERA in 28 innings, though? Not great strikeout to walk ratios for anybody except for DeGrom and Smokey Joe Wood on this roster. Tom Henke, pretty sparkling ERA, outpacing his whip. Smokey Joe, 0.78 whip. I'm about to become Smokey Bobby before long. Smokey Bobby Ray. Maybe that should be my new nickname, my new old-timey baseball name, Smokey Bobby Ray. And I'll just be smoking weed all the time, and nothing will be different. Let's see here. Sam McDowell, 20 Ks in 17.2. Craig Kimbrell, 0.79 ERA and a 1.24 whip. As usual, the Birdman experience is everything that was advertised. I'm so glad it does his stupid bird arms. They're so stupid in this game. And it's perfect because they're so stupid in real life. Yeah, Dodgers played 30 games. Some teams only played 25. So yeah, take Yogi Berra's eight dongs with a grain of salt here. If you prefer your dong with salt. I prefer mine with pepper. Tris Speaker stole 7 bases. Again, looking like one of the most dynamic leadoff hitters in this game. His OPS up at 997. Angels, we can absolutely look at their morale. We'll do that here in a sec. Might as well get that done as long as we're here. And the bench players for LA Dodgers. This is one of the stronger benches, in my opinion, in the league. Full of guys that could be starters on some other rosters. And yet they did not show up in spring training. Okay, shows what I know. Paul Goldschmidt with that 339 OBP against a 213 batting average. Shows he's getting his one way or another. Yeah, one of my keys to the season for the Dodgers was that Oscar Charleston actually play up to his first round draft capital. Looks like he is Has every intention of doing that. And, we saw the pitchers already for LA. On to San Diego, the San Diego Padres. Satchel Paige picking up the bulk of the innings by 10. Tim Lincecum, Bullet Rogan, and Babe Adams all coming in with 22. 3 wins for Babe Adams, no losses. That's interesting. 38 strikeouts to 11 walks, another fantastic ratio there for Satchel Paige, and a 104 whip. Looks a lot better than that 3.31 ERA suggests. Tim Lincecum might be every bit as bad as that 7.94 ERA suggests, however. 20 strikeouts and 15 walks in 22.2 innings. I guess he's smoky Tim Lincecum so far in spring training. 1.81 whip, yeah, just not encouraging from year 2. Bullet Joe Rogan, however, 1.14 whip is pretty fantastic. Is his first name Joe, or am I just thinking the podcaster Joe Rogan? Because that's hilarious if I just slipped up like that. Okay, cool. He's the original Joe Rogan. Yeah, he is the canon Joe Rogan in my mind now. 25 strikeouts in 22 innings, only 5 walks. That's really stellar. That is 2 starter numbers, and Babe Adams' results were actually pretty good too. 0.95 ERA for Greg Harris down there. Six holds for Big Sexy Bartolo Colon. Smoky Tim Incubus cover band? Yes, I would absolutely play guitar in that band. Raleigh Fingers got 7 saves in 11 innings. Struck out 8 to his 1 walk. Ali Reynolds, 12 strikeouts and 1 walk. That's fantastic. He's occupying one of those setup roles across from Dennis Eckersley. 0.87 ERA and 106 whip is sparkling. I don't even know Ali Reynolds. Okie doke, our final team. Nope, wait, we didn't see the offense. Got to see the offense for the Padres. Willie Wells taking the bulk of the at-bats with 97. Tim Raines getting 89. The pop coming from McCovey, sending 8 over the wall and only 65 at-bats. That's got to be one of the better home run per at-bat rates that we've seen. He also drove in 21 RBIs, which on a per-game basis is pretty stellar. 5 steals for Raines, 4 for Torriente. Wow, Willie Wells slugging .526, OPS up at .918. And McCovey's OPS over 1,000. Lots of guys in the 8s. Yeah, looks like everybody except for Shoeless Joe Jackson is at least pulling their weight, if not playing above their expectation. Cristobal Torriente showing that walk skill, 13 walks to 12 strikeouts. McCovey also drawing 12 to his 16. It's pretty great. And then we got the bench guys for San Diego. Brett Boone, new to the team, but ended up hitting .318 in his 15 at-bats, proving that he's still on the roids. Though he didn't hit a bomb, so maybe he's off him. Maybe he's off him. Got to give him credit, innocent until proven guilty, you know. Gonzo also not hitting any homers and not sharing his roids neither. Five doubles for Braun, 6 doubles for Brett Boone. That's pretty cool. He could end up being a useful piece. Does he have any secondary positions? No, just second base. And now we're on to our final team. We will have a look at the standings. We will get the Angels' morale, and we'll just have a quick look at a couple league leaders. And then the next time you will hear from me will be a big season preview for the Legends League. That'll be coming sometime tomorrow. And then And then it's opening day in 2 days. Oh my! I'm so much more excited for Legends League opening day than I am for anything about the 4th of July. And that has everything to do with COVID world, but but I'm pretty freaking stoked for Saturday. Okay, the Giants looks like they played a good amount of games. 6 home runs from Machado, even though his batting average is scuffling. Willie Mays, 8 home runs. Miguel Cabrera, 8 home runs. Yeah, now you better. Barry Larkin hitting 322 would be leading the team if it wasn't for Miguel Cabrera with his 400 average. 1366 OPS. He's right up there with Billy Williams and Mookie Betts for OPS leaders for the spring, I think. I think there might be 1 or 2 other guys who are above 1,300. Which is wild, but this is Legends League, so everything is on the table. The bench guys, a lot of whom are actually in platoons, so you're actually seeing them collect a few more at-bats than a lot of these other bench pieces. Six jacks for Duke Snider, 1 every 11 at-bats. You'll absolutely take that. Cepeda on a similar pace. Jose Ramirez, a really nice piece off the bench. He's hitting great in spring, and he's going to bring a lot of defensive versatility to this team. And finally, looking at the San Francisco Pitchers, we just got through all of the spring stats for all 18 participating teams. 32 strikeouts to 6 walks for Kershaw. Marichal, 30 strikeouts to 9 walks. Some pretty stellar numbers from the starting rotation here. I know that there is some controversy as to the 5th starter on this team. And it's not getting any easier looking at these numbers. Dang. Nice job, Giants. This is a good problem to have. Greg Holland looks like the potential weak point here. 9.5 ERA in 18 innings work. Yeah, Mike Scott, the only guy in that battle who didn't actually start any games, but it looks like he got just as many innings as Snell, so he got his go. Will Smith with 13 holds, so he's getting a lot of work in the early going. Looks like AI is favoring him out of the pen. And then here's the back end of the pen for the Giants, with closer Rob Nen shutting down 9 saves in his 9 1/3. .5 whip, though, for Nen is a little bit concerning. I guess it's such a small inning sample. It's really not anything to get too bent up about yet. Alrighty, we'll do a real quick look into a couple stat leaders. I really just want to see the batting average leaders for the AL and NL here. I'm not even going to scroll down. I just want to see who ended up actually leading this thing. Cabrera, 400, Pop Lloyd, 370, John O'Leward at 360. And then 3 guys in the AL hitting over 400 Gs. Mookie Betts at 438, Billy Williams at 427, Fred McGriff at 404. So we had 4 guys hit over 400. Yeah, wow. A lot of higher averages in the AL. Yeah, so there were 3 guys that hit over 350 in the NL, right? Olerud, Lloyd, and Cabrera. And yet 9 guys hit over 350 in the AL. Wow. I guess that early read that the AL was looking like a bit more of a nightmare is turning out to be true, at least on the offensive side. Okay, going through quickly to home runs. Again, this is a little bit unfair because we had such vastly differing at-bat totals. Here's Billy Williams hitting 9 home runs in 75 at-bats, right next to Rogers Hornsby, who got 128 at-bats to do the same. So this really isn't fair. So I think we should anoint Billy Williams the home run king of spring since he did his 9 in 75 at bats. Get out of here. Yeah, the NL lagging behind in the power category too, though the Babe isn't up here. Wait, he should be. Where is he? There he is. Okay, Babe fell off. He was really leading the way early and mid spring, but he's fallen off to the point where his batting average fell under 400, and he hasn't hit a home run maybe even in a couple weeks. So that's fascinating. He did still end up OPSing 1217. I wanted to look at steals. Tris Speaker and Carew swiping 7, Knapp getting 6, Henderson, Mays, Raines, Ashburn, and Altuve with 5. And in the AL, Jackie Robinson, Hugh Duffy for Boston, and Pete Rose each swiped 8 bags apiece. Cool to see Pete Rose getting all those steals, even with his not eye-popping speed stats. Cool Papa Bell with 7, Murph with 6, and a few guys with 5. What else did I want to look at here? Here's our OPS leaders. Yeah, Bob Johnson and Willard Brown for the Cubs, just absolutely crushing because they're so happy about their roles. They're playing way above their overalls. Above their overalls. That's fantastic. I'm playing above my overalls. Randy Johnson leading away with wins in the NL. Strasburg for the AL. And here I wanted to look at Ks. A few guys breaking 40. Big unit. Bob Gibson and Justin Verlander doing it in the NL. And only Mike Cuellar doing it. Another one of those guys who's just stoked to be an ace. And so he's playing out of above his overalls. Yep, that's what we say now. Innings pitched is a really good indicator this early in the season. A lot of the aces getting into the 30s, which you like to see. And then just a brief look at our top WAR getters in either league. Kaneda leading the way in the NL. That's cool to see. And Necro leading in WAR, pitching WAR for the AL. Good for him. And here's the batting WAR leaders for the AL. And for the NL, we'll go have our final look at the standings. The Cardinals, the Tigers, and the Giants end up being the big winners of spring training. The Cardinals do run away with it 21-8. For a 724 win percentage. The Giants played one fewer game, so I guess that's a shared victory there. So was there one cupcake team that overperformed here? Yeah, the Royals. Really odd that the Royals overperformed so much with that 15-11 record. I don't see that continuing. As I've been mentioning, I've been doing a ton of tinkering with the cupcake teams, and they shouldn't be as cupcakey anymore because I really went out of my way to really spread as much talent as I could around those teams. Sadly, had to break up some of the cool themes that were going on to make everybody equally competitive. But what I'm trying to say is I don't think that this Kansas City Royals win record in spring is any indication of anything. And here's our final look at the Grapefruit League standings. And I guess it's the Red Sox who are our overperforming cupcake here. Yep, 16-13. I guess this game likes their speed, but they certainly don't have enough else going on their team to suggest that they're actually that much of a threat. I guess it does rank them as the best of the cupcakes, though. That is really interesting. Okay, last thing. This is just for the Los Angeles Angels manager now, going in and having a look at the morale screen. Remember that you can request to have a poke through your morale screen pretty much whenever. I guess just be kind and considerate. Basically, ask me to do it when I'm already on a stream is the easiest thing. You're like, hey, next time you're on the stream, can I have a look at my team role stuff? So here we go. We're just gonna slowly scroll through from the top-rated player down on this roster so that the Angels can see who's going to be a little mad about it. Oh, I don't get to be the star. I'm so sad. Yes, we can go see how pissy Necro is after this as well. No problem. This doesn't make any sense to me. Pete Hill has no expectation. He's playing every day, and he's mad about it. And it's not affecting him at all. Just another one of the weird things going on here. A quick reminder that a star is somebody who hits in the top 4 in your lineup, 1, 2, 3, or 4. You only have one ace. It's your first pitcher. Everybody else is considered rotation. As far as I've looked into it, I don't think there's any difference between a 2-starter and a 4-starter or a 5-starter. It's just a matter of whether they're in the bullpen or 2-spot isn't a star. Yeah, so there's more confirmation that giving somebody the 2-spot in your rotation is not any better than giving him the 5-spot. Damian Easley should not want to be a star, just saying. Oh, 2-spot in the lineup, too. Oh, thank you very much. So only hitting 1, 3, or 4. Very cool. Okay, so you only get 3 stars on your roster. That is super weird. And then is there anybody else down here? Chili Davis is real mad. Yeah, I think that's everybody. Okie doke, and then we were going to fly over to the Angels and have a look at Mr. Necro. Oh, he's fine. He's mad. He's satisfied. How about Mr. Blue, though? He's happy. He's just not performing to his expectation yet. So this is the kind of thing where maybe he gets, one good start, and then this might turn from red into orange, and then he gets another good start, and then all of a sudden he'll actually be happy. Yeah, if he turns around, he'll boost. So turning it around to satisfied, he'll get up to a 92. If this team roll is enough to make him happy enough to increase his stats, then yeah, he could play up to a 94 or a 95, but also keeping in mind that overall is a really misleading stat, and that there are a lot of situations where a guy with a lower overall can be a much better player, as we saw with, I think the best example is how Roberto Clemente could be a 98, even though he's clearly as good of a player as a lot of these 99s. Just depends on where they're getting their value from and what you're using them for. Cool, y'all. I think that's it. I think that's it for spring training. Fun. I am going to switch over to PFK, the regular, and go for the ALCS right now. It's time for Game 4. And I will be back tomorrow with some kind of an actual preview, and I think that'll probably be later in the day, so I have some time to actually put some stuff together. All right, y'all, this has been fun. Can't wait for opening day in 2 days. See ya.